Welcome, everyone. It's a very special episode here of The Buck Stops Here. And I'm Kirk Buchner, along with my favorite Texan, Longhorn Dave Whitlock. And we wanted to do a sort of like follow up with our wild card preview. We didn't do a division series preview because the timing just didn't work out. And technically, it didn't work out for our league championship series because as we're doing this, we're recording our preview. I put in air quotes. Game one of the Jays Mariners is happening right now. What is it? Still 2-1?
2-1. Yep. Bottom seven.
Bottom of the seventh. Okay. So we'll sort of be talking about that, but we're going to kick off with just how we see this sort of going. I'm not surprised at the four teams that are remaining. Actually, let's start with that. These are no surprises here at all.
No, I think if you look at the seeds, of course, the ones and twos won, except for Dodgers over Phillies, but that was really a toss up. And I don't look at Vegas odds that often, but I think going to that series, the Dodgers would have been a favorite just because they're the Dodgers. They've got MVPs up and down the lineup. They've got slightly better rotation. So nobody was shocked at all that the defending champion World Series, defending champion Dodgers made it past that. And in other words, another series, the ones and twos won. And there's been some criticism of the current format that, these teams that have buys, they get stale, they are not as fresh. The teams that win in the first round are going to catch them off guard. Well, none of that happened. The Blue Jays took care of the Yankees. The Mariners took care of the Tigers in 5. The Brewers took care of the Cubs in 5. But I think anybody that looked at those Tigers-Mariners series and the Brewers-Cubs could easily see evenly matched. Both of them got pitching, both of them got hitting. So, but the teams with the buys won. They get to stack their starting rotation in that particular series. And like you said, I think no surprises. I think we can pretty much say these are the 4 best teams. Toss out Phillies would have an argument, but these are the teams that earned their way here, and now they're facing off. So we get the big boys. We don't get one of these series where somebody's, the Dodgers are playing. So, the Reds almost made the playoffs. It was like the Reds did make the playoffs. It was like a Dodgers-Reds miracle. We'd be all like, okay, this isn't even good series. But
yeah, I think unless you're a fan of the Reds, you really didn't want to see them advance. That's just not necessarily a sexy team unless, Ellie De La Cruz is fun to watch.
They're an up and coming team, and I forgot we covered that series, the Dodgers Reds, and it went about like we expected. The Dodgers were 10 runs a game. The Reds were plucky and put up a handful, but at the end of the day, these are 2 great series. We're going to get a great matchup in the World Series, so I can't wait to break down these 2 LCS.
Yeah, well, let's start off with the National League because maybe something might have changed by the time we get to the American League.
Sure.
And by the way, I'm going to game 3. I already told Dave this, but yeah, so my first ever Blue Jays playoff game, because when the Jays were in the World Series in 92, 93, I was living in Ottawa and I was attending university. So that really wasn't much of an option for me to sort of do that.
As an American, my understanding is that all the Canadian cities are the same and they're all really close to each other, and it's not even like a big deal.
That's actually very true. In fact, as soon as you cross the border, it snows.
Yeah, right.
What's the matter where?
It's right across.
Yeah.
I just messing with you.
No. I've actually had conversations with people who were surprised, but that's another story. And that was in a Waffle House in Alabama, but that's another story. Big shock there. We got Milwaukee and LA, a fascinating matchup. The Dodgers, as you've already alluded to, this is a team that they've bought, they've paid for, and it's loaded. And the scariest thing is they have found their groove. And that's not good news for the Milwaukee Brewers. But maybe they're just so young and dumb and they don't care. That's, I think, why this series can be so much fun. They don't know intimidated, but yeah.
I would agree. So far the Dodgers, check my math, 5-1. Basically the only game they lost was when Clayton Kershaw came in and just wasn't good. And I don't expect to see him again in this postseason. Nice try. But yeah, what we're not used to seeing is the Brewers. The major networks didn't put them on any of the Fox primetime, any of the ESPN primetime games. And so people are still finding out who Churio is and who some of these pitchers are. They've got a good bullpen. On paper, they're evenly matched teams. I even think with the payroll differential, I think the Brewers won more games in a division that wasn't bad. I mean, the Cubs were a great team. The Reds were a good team in that division. The Cardinals were a 500 team. So it's not like they played in this division where they could just roll over opponents. So I expect it to be evenly matched. I'll save my final prediction for maybe more discussion, but this is what we wanted to see, I think.
It is. I know that probably not what MLB and who's got, I guess, still TBS and ESPN who have this.
I think TBS has this one.
Okay. Yeah. I know that whoever's got the World Series, they do not want Milwaukee to advance.
Right.
Milwaukee, again, like you said, I mean, like this is a team that's loaded, but you don't know who most of these people are. Jackson Churio is not a star. He is, but he's not a needle mover yet. Maybe he will be one time. But I look at that lineup. I actually like their lineup better right now. I think
it's deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, people like Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez and Mookie Betts are, three guys that could just take over a game, and they have before. But I think top to bottom, there's reasons to believe that the Brewers could put more pressure on the Dodgers.
What I like though is their starters over, believe it or not, over LA. Priester and Peralta. Quinn's been fantastic this year. He hasn't gotten a lot of press, maybe because he didn't go to the All-Star game. He sort of like got better as the year went on. If they can sort of like win the first half of a game, I think they got it. Roki Sasaki, I think, is the key for the Dodgers because he's just been lights out in the last month or so. If they can get to Sasaki, they're going to win almost like any game that they're in. That's really how I feel at this point. But it'll be a lot of fun. I don't have a rooting interest one way or the other, and sometimes Dave, that's the best. Where I could just not have this sort of like going like I do with the other series. Although I live in Seattle now. I can't hate Seattle.
Yeah, that one too. A lot of people, believe it or not, there's people that don't want to see the Yankees win. I don't know who these people are, but I'm one of them. But Blue Jays and Mariners, here's one team that's never even made the World Series, another team that hasn't made it, and as you alluded to, over 2-3 decades. But back to your pitching matchup, Dodgers, that's the most intriguing part. I think the lineup's going to do what it's going to do. I think the Dodgers starting rotation is good. Their bullpen so bad that they're basically using starters in relief, as patchwork, and that's been great for Dave Roberts. He's made it work. Mm-hmm. Can that work for a 7-game series? A 2 or 3 5-game series? They've been able to kind of just mix in these, Yamamoto and some other guys, Sasaki and Kershaw, to the detriment of the result of that game. But I think they're going to need a little bit more out of their bullpen. So it's going to be very interesting. I think you alluded to a good thing that the first half of who postures themselves with the lead after the 5th or 6th is gonna matter, because I think that the Dodgers get the lead, they're going to be able to bring some guys in to get multiple innings and shut them down. I think the Brewers get the lead, they'll be able to use their back end of the bullpen. A 7-game series is so different than the first. You get all these days off. All of a sudden, you need 4 starters, or you can't do 2 starters in a bullpen game. You'll do 2 starters in 2 bullpen games. There's 3 games in a row where suddenly you can't just use guys day after day and expect that day off. Some of the bullpen guys, and so that the bullpen usage is going to be a big deal. And I think it's more evenly matched than people think, because they're going to assume the Dodgers are going to come in and 5-1 so far. They're going to just club these Brewers that nobody's heard of. But watch the Brewers. The Cubs were a really, really good team, and they were able to beat them.
I think it's also good for the Brewers that the Cubs came back.
Yeah.
To sort of force a game 5. And that's something that a young team, even though they've been in the playoffs a lot lately.
Yeah, right.
These guys haven't.
Yeah.
Even the one guy they picked up from Chicago, who's like Andrew Vaughn.
Vaughn, right.
He's done incredible work since he's been in Milwaukee, which I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that's a surprise. It was as if he was disinterested in playing for the White Sox. I think he got sent down at one point. And it's like, but a good ball player. He was, a guy you'd pick up on fantasy teams and things like that, but just all of a sudden fizzled, and now he's back to where he was. So yeah, the Brewers have really mixed together a good team with in-house talent, a couple key pieces that they didn't have to give up a lot of prospects for. So really, really good balanced team.
I'm going to make my prediction.
All right, let's go.
I got Milwaukee in 7.
I'm gonna go Dodgers in 6. I think, despite all the hype up I did for the Brewers, I think that winning. I think the Dodgers. They also have a little bit of a clutch factor, having been through it last year. You go back to the World Series. They're 4-1 in the World Series. They're 5-1 in these playoffs so far. They're just rolling. They get the late hits when they need it. If it's Teoscar one day, it's Mookie the next day, it's Shohei the next day, Will Smith. They've just got too much talent. So I see the Brewers winning a couple, but the Dodgers will close it down. I guess that would be in Milwaukee in Game 6.
Could very well be. We'll see. And that's a great thing, whether I'm right or wrong. It's going to be fun. I just hope it's not a sweep. I just want this to be so much fun. And here's another series that's going to be fun, and I do have a rooting interest. Again, as we're doing this, it is Game 1. Is it still 2-1?
It's 2-1 with the Mariners threatening in the top of the 8th. 2 on, 1 out.
Okay, who does that Toronto have pitching?
What's that?
Who does Toronto have pitching?
Dominguez.
Okay, the guy they picked up from Baltimore. All right, all right. Well, let's talk about Toronto. They shouldn't have been here in the first place. If we would have done an MLB preview.
Yeah, they would not have been here in my standings.
Right. My favorite thing. I think I said to you on X once. I know I can't wait for you to bring that out, because then I know it's MLB season is in fact here.
That's right.
The helmet standings. But this is pretty much, this team makes no sense on paper. They really don't. Vladimir Guerrero is, the fact that he re-signed, that I didn't see happening, and that's fantastic for Toronto. And maybe that was a catalyst to sort of like let everyone in the clubhouse know, okay, we're going to try to win this thing. Although Bo's not playing now, Bo Bichette.
Right.
He rebounded from just a god-awful year. So you have those two guys, and George Springer, one of your guys, a former Astro,
that's right,
who's having his best year in a Jays uniform. So your big 3 guys are playing the way they should be. That didn't happen last year. But then you've got a bunch of guys that a lot of people have never heard of. I mean, if you're familiar with the Jays system, Addison Barger did not creep up on you, but right. Nate Lucas did. Ernie Clement had a much better year than you'd think, and their big pickup, Santander, didn't do much. This team again makes no sense whatsoever on where all of this is coming. If Toronto gets through, it's going to be on the strength of a starting pitcher named Yesavage.
Yeah, right.
Trey, Macho Man, Yesavage. And a guy I think who was in the low mid minors to start the year. Toronto scares me though with their pitching. They just do. Seattle's been more consistent all year.
Yeah.
And the fact that they just got through everything on Game 1 with Miller sort of like, let's off, Springer gets the opening bomb to start off, and then he just settles right down, because the best thing that could have happened for Toronto was for them to get to Miller early, get him out of there, and then make them their pen even more.
Yeah.
Escape this unless something changes. That's, I think, why a lot of people, including myself, had we have done this a few hours ago, would have had Toronto in 6. Now I really don't know, because again, it's so hard. And I know, guys, we're doing this in the middle of a game, but maybe just like hearing us talk. I hope so.
Yeah, right.
Seattle, though, is another team. Their top 6 of the lineup, this is about as good as any in baseball. Ayraz, Cal, Julio, Polanco, Naylor, Suarez. Suarez is your number 6 batter.
Yeah. You got rookies of the year. You've got MVP candidates like Cal Raleigh. You've got, Eugenio Suarez, who's got just it's bat after bat in that lineup. And it mixes and matches well. Some got power, some got speed, some go the other way. And so really, they're a good singles, double homer type team. They don't sit back and just rely on a 3-run homer. It's like they've got speed up and down the lineup. They've got clutch hitters that have proved it in the last round. So they are a tough lineup, and that's why they got the 2 seed.
Yeah, and their bullpen's much better than Toronto's, with Braum and Munoz.
Yeah,
Yeah, Braum. Okay.
yeah. There's a Bizzardo and
Uh, Spears are only lefty.
yeah,
Fire, but Spears.
Brash. There's a Brash.
Brash. Yes, Braum's a Philly. Sorry,
Yeah,
Brash. Braum. Yeah, I knew in my head
Brash.
that was wrong.
Brash, Bizzardo, and Munoz are, they've got that 7-8-9 train, which has been a proven success. A lot of teams. I mean, go back to the Yankees when Mariano Rivera was the setup guy for John Wetland. I mean, it was Mariano for the 7th and 8th and Wetland for the 9th. Then you had the Royals that had 3 guys. The Astros did the same thing when they had Presley and Abreu and those guys. So yeah, to have that lineup for the Mariners is a big advantage.
So as much as on paper, I think Seattle's actually the better team. Toronto just keeps finding a way. And I think if Toronto is going to win this series, it's going to come from unsung players. There's going to be a lot of players that you don't expect, because that's what's happened all year. So can they do that if they lose home field advantage? Are they out? No, they're not out at all. But how much fun, I'm trying to take my fandom out of this, would a Seattle Milwaukee series? I mean, Major League Baseball, the TV people, they're not going to like that one bit.
No.
But we are going to guarantee for the first time since I don't know when that we'll have a first time World Series champion. When would the last time that would have been? Or that would have been a guarantee?
Yeah, I don't know, 1907 or something.
Yeah. My God. I didn't even. I should have researched this before, but guaranteed with that. No, I mean that would have had to been. Let's see, when Arizona went in, it was the Yankees.
No, I was gonna say Arizona and the Rangers, but the Arizona had won a couple.
But Arizona's World Series was against the Rangers.
They did a couple years ago, so I was thinking that might have been a matchup. But Arizona had.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That would have been because neither of them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But the Arizona had already played beat the Yankees
in 2001.
So I've got an idea. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to go with this one. Royals, Phillies, 1980.
Well, no, I think you said it though. I mean, like, it would have been Texas, Arizona.
Well, that was 2020.
Yeah, but neither of them had won a World Series before.
What about 1980 Phillies against Royals?
Well, no, but I'm just saying in recent times.
Oh, recent times. Oh, yeah, most recent. But no, the Diamondbacks had won one, so that was not a guarantee. So if you're talking about,
that's right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that.
Oh, you know what? I was mixing it up in my head, thinking about when Colorado was through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. 80. So it would have to be.
Yeah, maybe 1980 Royals, Phillies. Mm-hmm. Amazingly, the Phillies had a team for 100 years, 80 years, and never won a World Series. But they did in 1980.
Well, I'm going to use my fandom here. I got Toronto in 7. I know that shouldn't happen. I should probably. I pretty much built up Seattle as the better team.
Right.
Okay, my heart says Toronto in 7. My brain says Seattle in 6.
So yeah, I'm back and forth
today.
And it's 3-1 now. They're still in the top of the 8th. 2 outs. Fluharty's in for the Jays. So whatever this game's likely to go to the Mariners. But so here's my reason to pick the Blue Jays is I think that we'll say these first two games split. Then Toronto just needs to win one up there to send it back to Toronto for games at 6 and 7. And, so I would say, well, they're at least enough evenly matched to go to a game 7. And in game 7's in Toronto with that crowd, potentially probably with at least an even pitching matchup. I'm going to go Toronto in 7, which I think is what you just said.
Well, that's what I said, although I was almost talking myself into something else.
But I wouldn't be surprised for Mariners in 5. I wouldn't be surprised if Blue Jays. I think these are two streaky teams. A concern I have about the Mariners is, and it was kind of happening earlier when in this game when they're going inning after inning without scoring, and they've been the last game 15 innings with just 1 run or something. that their offense is loaded, but not necessarily clicking. And even this game, they had a rally home run and then, followed that with a double and a single. I think the Blue Jays can just explode like they did against the Yankees, and that explosiveness will get some momentum. So that's part of the reason I'm hanging my hat. I'm going to say Blue Jays in 7, but that's a soft endorsement. I think only reason is they have home field. If they have home field in game 6 and 7, it's always, they are a gritty, tough team. They've got depth in pitching. So I think that
their depth though in their bench though with it, that's more just they're 7 and like I praise the top 6.
Yeah.
The Jays, let's say Bichette comes back at some point and he's still day to day. Where Toronto will have if Toronto's much better 7 to 9.
Yeah.
That's where I'm thinking if one of those guys
can get a little hot,
Yeah, and I think that's
be that guy.
On this Blue Jays team. I mean, I'll never forget in '92, or at least I'll never forget it. On that team, the team that had Devon White, who's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a damn good leadoff hitter. Allen, Molitor, was Molitor on that team yet? No, no, Molitor was on the '93 team.
Okay.
Yeah, so Winfield was a DH in '92. So that Winfield, Carter, but your MVP of the World Series was Pat Borders.
Right.
And then in '93 he was still on the team, and that was the number 9 hitter on a roster that was even better.
Yeah.
Then they had Molitor, then they had Olerud, because Olerud I think that was his batting title year, or at least he was top 3. I know in '93 it was Molitor, Alomar, Olerud. I don't know what order. I think first.
Yeah, I'm doing a little research as we go, but you're nailing all the key players. I clicked on the World Series, like, well, Alomar only batted 308. I was like, no, that's in the so Alomar batted 310. Olerud was only 284. We're talking 92. That's 92. Right? Yeah, 92.
Yeah, 93 he won. Yeah, 93 won the batting title.
You had for an MVP perspective that you had Joe Carter finished. This is the regular season MVP. Joe Carter finished 3rd. Dave Winfield finished 5th. Alomar finished 6th. Then of course you had the 21 game winner Jack Morris. You had Jimmy Key, Todd Sotomayor, Dave Stieb, and Devon White. Go to his. Roberto Alomar stole 49 bases that year. And then Kelly Gruber. Jeff Kent was on that team. Derek Bell was on that team. They weren't major contributors, but a couple hundred at-bats each.
It was a fun time to be a Jays fan. I wish I was living in Toronto at that time. But, oh well, c'est la vie. Well, I guess that brings us to a close. We wanted to keep this in a sweet spot of 30 minutes, and we did. So just a little bit of promo. Dave and I are part of the committee that is created the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. We strongly encourage you, and really, we're hopeful that you're going to go there and vote and help us out with that. www.theusahof.com. It is the only Hall of Fame that is by the people, for the people, and everything is transparent. We're going to tell you who finished top to bottom. Might embarrass some people, but that's pretty much how it goes, because that's how we want to see halls. And it's all up to you. Athletes and coaches and contributors from 17 different sports, and it's been a lot of fun. We've already eclipsed the highest total we've ever got.
Nice.
Coaches and contributors whoever's all the people who are finding it, they're voting in all categories, which did not happen in previous years. So this very, very interesting. I'm hoping Pat Summitt gets through.
That'd be good. She's a legend in a sport that's now emerging as one of the top popular sports. Women's college basketball, WNBA is a different discussion, but she was the leader of so many great teams, and the prominent coach, the Dean Smith and Mike Krzyzewski of the 80s, 90s for sure.
And then we might have a subcommittee to vote Belichick out. I don't know. I haven't decided.
Yeah, we need to amend the bylaws to talk about if you just are complete embarrassment to yourself, like what happens after that.
think we're going to find out that he may have a little bit of Alzheimer's going on.
That it would not be a shocker. Nothing I see leads me to believe that, but it's bad. The whole thing's strange.
Oh God, tell me about it. But also check out all the other shows that we do here at notinhalloffame.com. Support our list, support everything that we're doing. Lots of revisions coming, especially in the hockey area over the next week or so. Yeah. And yeah, there's so much. So as I always close off, wherever you are, wherever you may be, make today count because it never comes again. Take care, everybody.